morning or good day, everyone. Eric Olsen from Helps YouTube Live today, February 10th. Good to have you here. Hope you can hear me okay. Let me know on the chat feature. I want to make sure you can hear me. Um, so, last Friday or something, I was writing down some comments that people had made about helps, and I started one of those as a title today. It says, "Is this for real?" Okay. Um, yeah, helps is for real. Um, we really do what we say we can do. Um, Another comment that I wrote down, which we hear often, too good to be true. Another one I wrote down, I need help with my debit. More debts than money coming in. Another one I wrote down today was, I'm drowning in credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, and I'm on Social Security disability. So what helps is a national law firm that represents seniors and disabled persons who owe debt they can't afford to pay. What we do is we represent seniors and disabled persons receiving Social Security, pensions, IRA, 401k, different forms of retirement, VA benefits. We represent them under a federal law called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act that provides if you're represented by an attorney and we send a letter to a debt collector, lets them know that they're not to communicate with you anymore, then they cannot call or send you demands anymore. And what we do is we represent our clients ongoing, literally for the rest of their lives if they want us to, so they never have to deal with debt collectors again. If they have, they call helps. We ask them some questions. If they enroll, we don't turn anyone away that wants our help. Those that pay a very minimal amount, and then we enroll you. You get an email from us immediately that you're enrolled in helps. The payment usually starts within 30 to 60 days if there is a payment. Um, Very modest. You can stop paying your creditors right now. If they were to call you after you enroll, you would give them our name and number. They call us, and we let them know that we represent you. I'm going to sneeze here. Excuse me. Something got my nose. We let them know that we represent you and they're not to bother you anymore. So that's what we do. And then that's our main mission. Our second mission is to educate seniors how they can maintain their financial independence. And that's one reason we have these YouTube live videos. So you can ask questions and we can hopefully answer your questions. Okay? You can hear me. Thanks for the blessings on my sneezing. Appreciate that. Okay. Um, so Vincent says, good morning from Maryland. Can a collection agency garnish my tax refund from my bank account? Well, there's a question on one of the comments on this same thing. You might have been the same person, but I have it in my thing to talk about today, but I'll answer it right now. Okay. If you get Social Security or a federal benefit and that gets deposited in your bank account, Vincent, then there's a federal rule went into effect in 2012 that tells the bank that if they get a writ of garnishment, they have to examine what money went into your bank account. And if it came from a federal source like Social Security, a VA pension, maybe railroad retirement, that's a federal benefit, post office is a federal retirement, or um, a federal worker retirement, twice that amount, including Social Security, that you get each month deposited in your checking account, your bank account, is automatically protected from garnishment regardless of what other monies are in there where they came from. So if you got $1,600 in Social Security each month times 2 is $3,200 is protected in your bank account, even if money came from a tax refund that happened to get deposited in your bank account. All you need to do is just keep the money in your bank account less than twice the amount. And if someone had sued you and gotten a judgment and they were to garnish your account, then they wouldn't get anything. Now, if you had more than twice the amount in your account, that doesn't mean it's still not protected. It just may not be protected automatically. You may have to file what's called a challenge to garnishment or claim of exemption to get the money released, which we can help people do. We tell them what to do. It's pretty simple. Most people tell me, well, Eric, I never have more than twice the amount of my Social Security in that account. I say, fine, there's nothing to worry about. Okay, and then you don't even need to worry about it anyway. You don't even need to worry about it unless you were sued and someone got a judgment. Okay, they'd have to sue you, get a judgment before they could even begin to think about garnishing you. They have to have a judgment in order to garnish. So yeah, if you haven't been served papers or sued, you don't. This is something you don't really need to worry about. But so for a lot of reasons, no, you don't need to worry about kind of thing. This kind of thing, your income's protected. Okay. Yeah, and there's if it's going to be more than twice the amount, you can put it into another place where it's safe, so it's not even at risk. But someone, a creditor would have to hit it at the exact right time for there to be a problem. And if there was a problem, like I said, it's almost always can be resolved. So don't want you to worry. So once again, good to have you here today. Monday, we do this Monday through Thursday, same time for an hour. And this is for clients, or especially for people that don't know about helps that have these questions. You can learn more about your rights as a senior. Um, and I can assure you the information that we give people is accurate information. There's just a ton of inaccurate information for seniors out there on the internet. We want to correct that. Okay. Okay. Let me get in the right screen here. So, can this be real? Yeah, it is real. You can check helps out. You can look at our comments on all our YouTube videos and on our regular videos. We're all over the internet. No, helps is legitimate. It is real. Your Social Security is protected. So is your pension. So is your disability. It's protected in your bank account. Creditors, consumer judgment creditors aren't going to take your home. They're not going to take your car. They're going to take your other assets. Virtually every state has exemption laws that protect equity and property. But even if you have equity and property, for example, a little bit extra equity in a home that's over and above the exemption for the state where you live, it's not the practice of consumer judgment creditors to ever go after a person's home, nor their car, nor take other assets. We talk about this all the time. We've got lots of videos that go over this stuff. You're going to be fine. We don't want you to worry. So this person contacted us from Ohio, and he wrote in, my wife died recently, and with her went her retirement income. Let me just stop right there. If you have retirement income, you can provide that you get a little bit lesser sum so that when you pass away, your wife will get the retirement income or get a portion of it. And most of the time, that's the way people work this out. And that's a good idea to do that. But in this case, apparently it didn't happen. So his wife's retirement income went away. He says, I have a lot of credit card debt and struggle to pay it. I currently am with the debt repayment program through Freedom Debt Relief. First thing I'd ask him, did Freedom Debt Relief tell you, if you were on Social Security, did they tell you, by the way, Mr. Jones or whatever your name is, all your income is protected. You don't need to pay this debt. They can't collect anything from you. And I can assure you the answer is no, they didn't tell him that. Why don't they tell him that? Because if they'd have told him that, he wouldn't have enrolled with them and they wouldn't have got their fee. So these debt management companies and debt settlement companies, with rare exception, don't give seniors complete information. And I talk about that all the time. If you're in a debt settlement, debt management, and you realize that, hey, they can't really do anything to me, I don't need to pay this debt, I don't need to pay this company money, then you can cancel with them. You can call them on the phone, tell them to send the money back that they're still holding for you. Yeah, you don't need to stick with them. He said, I just requested that they reduce how much I pay into each month so I have money for medical needs. See, that's what it is. They have people pay money to them and people cut back on their medicines when they don't need to. They never tell them the truth that their income is protected and safe and available for their needs. Okay, I would like assistance in dealing with creditor calls, emails, and text messages and have someone I can refer to them when they ask for a phone number. Can you help me? Yeah, that's what we do, this gentleman from Ohio. That's what we do. When people find out about helps, they call us maybe once, twice, 3 or 4 times, and when they feel comfortable, they enroll. We enroll people over the phone. We send them an email while they're talking to us on the phone, confirming they're a member of HELPS, and then they can give us their creditor information. They can do it that day, the next day, or within the next few days. All we need is the name, address, and account number for the creditors they owe money to. We're going to send out a cease and desist letter so they stop bothering you and you stop paying them. And if, in the interim, before they got that, if they were to call you, tell them to call us. And when they call us, you're going to be in our system. We're going to tell the creditor that we represent you not to bother you anymore, and they're going to leave you alone. Okay, so yeah, we're going to assist you so you don't have to deal with calls, emails, and text messages. And you can always have someone to refer them to. And you can, if you ever have a question or concern, you pick up the phone and you call. So yeah, we can help you. That's what we do. Okay, this person asks, when a client of HELPS starts getting letters from creditors about wanting payments and the creditors know income is protected, saying they will sue, does HELPS need a copy of the letters from them? Well, first off, if when you enroll in HELPS and you give us the debt collectors to whom you owe money, we're going to send them a cease and desist letter. And under the law, they legally cannot call you or send demand letters anymore. They can't literally do what you're saying they did. So when you enroll in HELPS, you give us the creditors to whom you owe money, and we're going to send them a cease and desist letter, and they're going to leave you alone. Now, do we need a copy of letters that you're going to get from a creditor? Probably not in the interim. I mean, when we tell people when they enroll in HELPS and they give us the creditors, we're going to send that letter out. Our goal is to try to do it within 24 to 48 hours. A lot of times we do it faster than that. And then it might take them a week to 2 weeks to get the letter and process it and put it in their system. So we tell people the contact usually stops within 2 to 4 weeks. Now, if you continue to get letters after that, you might want to let us know, and we'd send a second letter. Now, it's legal in most states for an original creditor to still send you a bill, and if you get the bill, you can either throw it in the garbage or you can do a change of address to have the bill go to your name, care of HELPS, with our address. But the bottom line is, you call us with questions anytime. That's what HELPS is here for. You call us as often as you need to. Savannah asks question, do you know if a grandmother gets Social Security or SSI for taking care of a grandchild? Parents are out of the picture. Well, yeah, if you get Social Security or if you're the payee for someone taking care of someone, and if you had a debt problem and a creditor sued you and got a judgment and there was a garnishment on your account, your bank examines the account and there's a code where the money comes from. If it came from Social Security or another federal source, then they automatically protect twice that amount from garnishment, whatever the other monies are in there. So you're not going to need to worry. Now, if for some reason there was a problem, you get a hold of HELPS, we tell you what to do. You can file challenge the garnishment or claim exemption to get the money returned. You're not going to have a problem. Okay. So, people sometimes make comments on our YouTube Live, and this was a comment, I think, from last week. It says, hi, Eric. Great program. Who sues you, the original creditor or the collection agency, or both? Well, both don't sue you. Only one of them chooses to sue you. And it could be either one. Normally it's a collection agency down the road, but once in a while original creditors will assign the lawsuit and have someone, they'll do the suing themselves. But here's my answer. Either one can, but both don't sue on the same debt, and probably likely that only a minority would ever file a lawsuit. Bottom line is your retirement income is protected and you'll be okay. Don't need to worry. Okay? you know, I tell people not to worry, but, people still worry. They don't want to be sued. And that's one reason why I think when people enroll in HELPS, it's less likely you would be sued because we let the creditor know that your income is Social Security. You're not going to pay. You can't afford it. Now, sometimes they still choose to sue. I can't explain why, even though they're not going to get anything. They just do it. Maybe they count on someone not understanding their rights. And a lot of it is that I don't know if any human being reads these letters sometimes. Now, someone will read our cease and desist letter and enter code in, but they may not put in, hey, it's not worth suing this guy because you get Social Security. They may not do that. A lot of these collection agencies are really automated. Everything is automation. I just received a charge off from an original creditor and new collection company. Call helps for cease and desist letter and more to come. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, if you enroll in helps and you give us your debt collectors you owe money to, your creditors, and then let's say 6 months, 3 months, a year, you get a letter from a different debt collector, maybe on the same debt. But if someone new, you let us know. We're going to send a new cease and desist letter out to that new debt collector so they leave you alone. Okay? A civil processor was here on Friday, not for me, though I was in panic until I saw it wasn't for me. You don't need to be in panic even if it was for you because your income's protected. They can't do anything to you. You're not going to have to go to court. You're going to be fine. Now, I suppose it's not unusual for someone to be scared if they get sued. It's no fun, especially if you've never been sued before. But remember, you're not going to have to go to court. Okay? When a helps clients get sued, you get us a copy of the lawsuit. We don't need everything. We usually need the first 3 or 4 pages. We need the court name and the attorney's name and address. And we're going to send the attorney a letter letting them know that your income is protected. It's Social Security, pension, whatever, that you can't afford to pay the debt. We understand they're going to get a judgment. We remind them about the fact that your bank account is protected. It doesn't matter if we do that or not. It's protected by your bank, okay? But we let them know that. We understand they're going to get a judgment. And then we call you on the phone, explain why you don't need to worry. We're going to send you an email with links to lots of YouTube videos and articles that explains why your bank account is protected and why you don't need to go to court and why your other assets are safe. So not only are we going to call you and assure you you're going to get an email from us and you're going to get a letter from us explaining that with links and also explain that you can call anytime we can go over this. So, we tell people that if you're ever worried or scared, you call us no matter how often. You don't need to feel guilty about calling helps. I tell people sometimes my pet peeve if someone calls and they say, well, I didn't want to bother you guys because I know you're really busy. And we are busy, especially on Mondays. But we're busy. But that's okay. We want you to call us. Okay? We don't want you to sit home and worry. The creditors know about income is protected and still send letters to people and ignore the cease and desist letters still. Well, no, they generally don't ignore our cease and desist letters. They stop sending you letters or trying to contact you. The reason why is if they violate the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and they're a debt collector, they can be sued. The penalty is $1,000 in attorney fees. And there's some law firms that actually specialize in suing debt collectors who violate the the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act by sending out cease and desist letters after they've been notified the person's represented by an attorney or that they don't want to receive these letters anymore. So generally they follow the law. The only exceptions are sometimes high interest places, payday loans. Some payday loans are based overseas or on Indian reservations where it's more difficult to enforce the law. And so if it's overseas, how are you going to sue someone in a different country? Some some of these companies, payday loan companies, advertise that they're overseas as though that's some big deal, that gives them an advantage. Well, no, the only reason they're overseas is because that way they can't be sued. If you don't pay them, then they can call you and say you're going to jail, or they can make all kinds of threats that are empty and are meaningless to try to get you to pay. No, you're going to be fine. At what point do you contact helps? Well, I don't know what you mean. If you're dealing with debt collectors and you're having a hard time, you contact helps now, and so we send them a cease and desist letter to leave you alone. You can enroll in helps whenever you want. So it's up to you when you contact us. You can always call us with questions, whether you're a client of helps or not, and we'll go over this. Okay? Does selling your home prevent you from considering low-income housing? The safe is obvious. The sale is obviously an asset that prevents you from considering the option. No, low-income housing is almost always based on your income, not your assets. So you could have money in the bank account from a sale of home and still qualify for low-income housing. Now, obviously, if you had a lot of money in there and you're collecting a lot of interest, that would be income and might disqualify you for low-income housing. But no, you can sell a home and still qualify for low-income housing. You bet. Sometimes I'll tell people that they may have got a house with a lot of equity and they need to move anyway. And so I tell them, well, apply for Section 8, low income housing. You can sell the home, put the money in your account, and you'll still qualify for low income housing. Okay? Can you offer me with names of persons or persons that helps who can help me with legal questions? Thank you. Well, a lot of people that have questions from helps, they think they're legal questions, but they're not legal questions. You can always call. We have attorneys that work for helps that you can talk to. We don't give legal advice. We give legal information. Okay. And if it's something that you really needed an attorney for where you live, we'd give you some guidance on where to go and how to do that. But frankly, 98% of the time we get those questions, you really don't need that kind of help, even though you think you might. Okay. That's not saying that you still can't call. You can. I need to get Phil Tyrone on. I'm sorry. I'll get around to it real soon. I promise. Okay. So here's another question that came in on the our our chat feature that someone called. Okay. If I decide to stop paying my hometown credit card, uh, that's from their bank. I mean, their hometown bank's credit card. Do I need to close my checking account with that bank? My Social Security check and small pension are deposited in that checking account, which also has my son's name on it. And this is my answer, and then I'll explain. I said perhaps. If it's a credit union, definitely yes. Why a credit union? Well, when you signed up for an account with a credit union, you signed an agreement saying that if you owed them any money for any debt, they could offset money out of your account no matter what, even if a Social Security went into there. You signed something. You may not remember signing it, but I guarantee you did. So credit unions subscribe to the same stationery store. Okay, now, technically a bank, under the law, cannot offset money from your checking account to pay a debt owed to the bank if only Social Security is deposited. Other money being deposited could open it up to the possibility of being offset, although that is very rare. However, Truist Bank has customers signs a form about a bank's account to be set off, allowing a bank account to be set off for money owed to Truist, including money from Social Security. So, I think you heard that if you owe money to your bank and you're not going to pay it, and it's a regular bank and your only income is Social Security, except for Truist Bank, they're not going to offset money out of your account. They're not going to kick you out of the account if you don't pay them on the credit card debt. Now, a credit union's different. If you're not going to pay your credit union, you're going to want to change and open up a bank account somewhere else where you don't owe money. Now, of course, if you're going to pay the credit union, which you could do, you could keep doing that, and then there won't be any problem, and you could keep the credit. But if it's a whole lot of money, you may want to think twice about keeping the credit card debt, the credit union debt that you have. But if it's a small amount, you could keep that. Okay? I was denied loan assistance with housing because I had sold my home, and they said I could afford to pay $1,500 a month rent from the proceeds of sale. I wanted to save that money for future medical needs. Yeah, there might be some exceptions, but the Section 8 is a federal program governed by states, and most places, you're having income isn't going to prevent you, or you having money in your bank account isn't going to prevent you from qualifying for Section 8 housing. You may have had a renegade person that denied you. You can call and talk to HELPS. We'd be glad to look at. We'd like to be able to look, if we have time, to look at the state and maybe look at the regulations. But generally, the amount you have in your bank account is not an issue. Now, there could be a factor if it's some really huge, enormous amount, but generally, it's not an issue. This person contacted us from North Carolina. We've already turned in our travel trailer on January 23rd. This year. They picked it up a week later. That's pretty fast. A lot of times it's longer than that. I heard from them on Friday that they would be auctioning on February 13th. That's really, really fast. We're on Social Security only and can't afford it anymore. I'm 72. My wife is 70 years old. So we're going to call them back and tell them they don't need to worry. They're going to sell the travel trailer. Then I'm assuming they're going to sell it for less than what you owe. And then you'll get a letter from the lender called a deficiency notice saying you owe this amount of money that wasn't, which is the difference between what they sold it for and what you owe. Okay. And if your income is, you're 72 and 70 years old and your income is Social Security or pension, it's protected. If you remember HELPS, we're going to send a letter out to the collector saying, hey, you can't afford to pay it. Don't bother them anymore, and you don't need to worry about it. So you don't need to worry about your travel trailer being sold and you owing a balance on it. You're not going to have to pay it. In addition to any other debt that you can't afford to pay, you can use that money for your heat, for your food, for your medicine, for your needs. Lawmakers protected that money for your needs. They want you to have it available for you. I guess my one comment on this is that this is pretty fast. A lot of times, lenders for RVs or travel trailers or campers or whatever, they may take several months or longer before they get around to repossessing it and selling it. It takes a long time normally. But not all, I guess this is an exception. Your thoughts on Tanks asks, your thought on Chapter 13. My wife is not a senior and can't afford to pay her credit card or loan anymore. She filed Chapter 7 4 years ago, and we're in financial trouble again already. Well, okay, before starting HELPS, I probably filed 30 or 40,000 bankruptcies and thousands of Chapter 13s. Occasionally I talk to HELPS people that call HELPS that are in Chapter 13. I ask them a few questions and I say to myself, why in the world are you in a Chapter 13? You do not need to be in a Chapter 13. Okay, especially if you're a senior and getting Social Security or pension. You don't need to be in that type of bankruptcy. You probably don't need bankruptcy anyway, let alone a Chapter 13. And I talk about this occasionally. In fact, I've got videos on our YouTube page that talk about bankruptcy versus HELPS that you can look at. So I guess the reason that you'd be in a Chapter 13 is if you're behind on your home and it was being foreclosed and you need to catch up on the payment. Some people might go to a senior might go to a bankruptcy attorney, and the bankruptcy attorney might say, well, you have too much equity in your home to file regular bankruptcy, or you have too much equity in your car. Therefore, the only kind of bankruptcy you can file is a Chapter 13. And under the Chapter 13, you're going to have to make a payment for the next 3 years or 5 years to pay your creditors what they would get under a regular bankruptcy. So, and then you file the Chapter 13, you make this payment. It could be sizable, and you're doing it for 3 to 5 years. Well, what the bankruptcy attorney may not be telling you is, if you did nothing and you didn't pay the debt, first off, your income is not at risk. Your Social Security is protected, so is your pension. Even your wages, depending on where you live, or a certain percentage of your wages, Um, and even if you have equity and assets over and above the exemption, they're not going to come after those assets. They're not going to take your home. They're not going to take your car. So, but if you filed a Chapter 7, yeah, a trustee could do that because, he's got more power. And they can be, but an unsecured creditor isn't going to take your property. They're not going to do it. So the problem is some bankruptcy attorneys, what they tell you may be true, but they don't give you the complete truth. That is a practical matter. In real life, they're not going to take your assets if you have assets over and above the exemption. Therefore, you don't need to be in a, you don't need you can't file regular bankruptcy. You definitely don't need to be in a Chapter 13. But we'll talk to people about it. Chapter 13 is voluntary, which means if you're in a Chapter 13, you can dismiss it at any time. That's part of the law. Is you can stop making the payment, or you can tell the court you want to dismiss. They have to dismiss it. You don't have to have a reason. Okay. Um, this person asks, I recently signed with Helps and just got a civil summons for an American Express taking me to court. Do I need to send you copies of the summons? Do I need to do anything at all? Yeah, we need a copy of the summons and complaint. We only need the first 3 or 4 pages. We don't need everything. Sometimes these lawsuits are a dozen pages longer. We don't need that. We need the name of the attorney, the case number. Okay. In other words, and then we're going to call you on the phone, like I explained earlier, explain why you don't need to go to court, why your assets are protected, why your income is protected. You're not going to need to worry. Okay? So your wife's 47 years old. Well, I mean, you can call and talk to us, and we can give you some legal information. I mean, if she's working and she's making over a certain amount, and yeah, she got sued, and they happen to know where she worked, then they could garnish wages. Maybe a bankruptcy could make sense. Whether a Chapter 13 would make sense or not, I don't know. We'd have to talk to you. But once again, we don't file bankruptcy for people. Uh, and if someone does need bankruptcy, we're certainly going to tell you that. Okay, this person is from Texas, and they contacted us. They said, I'm 71 on Social Security and have a state pension. My wife also is on Social Security and also has a pension. She's also 71. Due to medical expenses and overall living costs, I had to give back a car I was making payments on. Uh, Both my Social Security and pension are direct deposited. I understand that these incomes are protected from garnishment and by the bank. I also work part-time, and these wages are deposited in different accounts. Would it be better off depositing my part-time wages in the same account as my Social Security and pension to protect that account and funds? Yeah, because the amount deposited in your checking account from Social Security or from a federal source, twice that sum is protected regardless of what other monies are in there where they came from. Now, you live in Texas, wages can't be garnished, but if they're deposited in your bank account, then they could be garnished. They could be subject to garnishment. There might be a way to get it back, but it's difficult. So if you put it into the same account to which Social Security came, and you kept the money in that account less than twice the amount of your Social Security benefits you get each month, then your bank will automatically protect that from garnishment. But you may not even need to worry about this unless you're sued. You can forget about it unless you're sued, and then you can take these steps then at that point. Okay? Oh, well, you live in Texas, your wife can't be garnished. Okay? That's a good answer. She's 47, she lives in Texas. Texas has pretty good protections. Um, it doesn't really matter how much she makes. It's protected from garnishment. Okay? I will be sending a letter from the clerk of the court, which I got today, but I also got a letter from an attorney offering legal defense to the suit recently filed against me. Well, okay. Uh, there's a lot of attorneys out there trying to make a buck. This is kind of different. that attorney subscribed to a service to let him know if someone got sued. And then they sent, a lot of attorneys that filed bankruptcy send advertising letters saying, we'll represent you in bankruptcy. Okay. A lot of our clients call us and they get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of these letters. You don't need to file bankruptcy. This person got a letter maybe that says, we're going to defend you on this lawsuit. Well, I mean, you don't need to do, if your income, Social Security or pension or disability and you're a helps client, you don't need to do that. You don't need to defend yourself. I mean, you'd have to pay money to them to defend it, but if you do nothing to get a judgment, they can't collect from you. Don't need to worry. And/or bank account. No, when the money's in the bank account, it could be a different deal. You'd want to keep the money out of the bank account. But you'd have to, you know, if you need helps and enroll, we can go over this stuff with you. But no, you put it in the bank account, it could be subject to garnishment. Just read the household assets must be less than 100,000 to qualify for low-income housing. Once again, it depends on the state. But yeah, you could have too much money, I guess, in some states. Most people I talk to, they don't have an issue with qualifying for Section 8. I thought it odd I got a letter from the lawyer before I even got the letter from the clerk of the court. Well, you didn't get a letter from the clerk of the court. You get served with a summons from a sheriff or something like that. Yeah, that happens all the time. People call us like, I've got all these letters from attorneys saying I've been sued. I don't know anything about it. Well, you've been sued. You just haven't been served with a summons yet. You will be. And when you get that summons, get it to us. Sometimes they'll say, well, they even sent me a copy of the lawsuit. Can I send that to you? And I say, no, don't get us a copy of the lawsuit until you're actually served with the paperwork. If you give it to us now and we send a letter to the attorney, it's like throwing a bunch of bolts in the gears. They're not going to know what to do because you haven't been served. And they're saying, why are we getting this letter from this attorney saying this? Wait till you're served and then get us the information. But we don't want you to worry. Person writes in, I need help on medical bills being collected by Western Mercantile Agency for a couple $1,000s. Most of this is because the doctors didn't submit necessary paperwork or insurance or tacked additional charges not requested. Well, yeah, this person can contact us. We can help them. We're going to tell them what to do. I don't know if they're a member of HELPS or not. Person from Ohio contacted us, says, I'm on 63 years old and just started collecting Social Security benefits. With a lower income, I cannot afford to pay creditors the scheduled contract amount. Should I pay them what I can afford? Well, you don't need to. I mean, you can if you want. Doesn't mean they're going to not try to collect from you or call you on the phone and harass you, but you don't have to. If you want to try to pay your debt, you can. We don't discourage anyone from paying their debt. Most people that enroll in HELPS, they're struggling. They need money for their food and their medicine and for their basic needs. They can't afford to pay anything. Or if they do have a little extra money, they need it. Maybe they need a little savings account for if something comes up, or a little slush fund to pay for something if there's a problem. No, you don't need to pay the debt if you don't want to. This person writes in, hello, I'm a senior working part-time. I tried paying off the debt, but circumstances happened, and I was no longer able to pay. I took out a personal loan in 2019. I stopped payments in 2023. And his business was affected by COVID, and several family members passed away that had helped him with his bills. Now we're victims of Hurricane Helena. We're trying to get all the damage repaired so that we can live back in the house without getting sick. I explained all of this to the collector. They refused to allow me to pay what I could each month because it does not agree with what the original creditor wants. They just automatically start to threaten me with litigation and a lawsuit. Well, okay, debt collectors are in the business to collect money. They don't have to tell a senior, by the way, your income is protected, your Social Security is protected, so is your pension. Your assets are also safe. Your home is safe and Florida, we can't take it. Okay, they wouldn't take it anywhere, no matter where you live. But they don't have to tell you that, and so they don't have to give you your rights. All they have to say, we're a debt collector, and any information we use will be used for that purpose. So this person, I'm going to tell them, you don't need to worry about this debt collector. If you don't want to be harassed anymore, you can enroll in helps. We're going to send them a letter, and they're going to leave you alone. Yeah, you thought it was odd. You got a letter from a lawyer before you even got a notice of being sued. I know. I've heard that before many times. Okay. So if she's sued, does she needed to stop direct deposit? Sorry for so many questions. Well, they can't garnish her wages, but if it goes into her bank account and they get sued and they get a judgment, yeah, they could garnish money out of the bank account. It could be an issue, so you might want to stop direct deposit. Now, if you got Social Security, let's say you got 2,500 in Social Security, 5,000 in your bank account is protected automatically. If your wife's income went into your bank account and you kept the balance, and it was a joint account and you kept the balance less than 5,000, then that sum's going to be protected from garnishment, regardless of what other funds are in there or where they came from. Twice the amount of Social Security is protected, but you can have other money going to that account. Just as long as twice the amount of Social Security, as long as the balance is less than twice the amount of Social Security you get each month, it doesn't matter what other monies went in there, even if it came from wages from your wife. Okay? And you don't have to worry if there's a judgment. Okay? So this person contacts us from California. See, we help people in all 50 states. If you're having these issues, if you're a senior or disabled and having debt problems, and you're worried or scared, pick up the phone and you call us. 855-435-7787. Look at our website, helps, www.helpsishere.org. Call us on the phone. We're here to help. So this person says, I'm 69 years old, retired. My only income is Social Security and adoption assistance. I have encountered debt totaling $14,000 and some other debt. They got some credit cards and explain high interest rates starting to kick in next month. Have a car payment with a bank I wish to keep. I want to keep his car. All my bills, car payments, and debts are up to date as of today. No late payments. I just can't afford the high interest I see coming my way. Well, I'll stop right here for now. If we have 5 people call helps, maybe one is being sued, 3 or 4 behind and being harassed, and then 1 out of 5 is current on everything. But they finally realize they're not going to be able to pay it anymore. It doesn't matter where you are. We can help you in whatever position you are. If you're current on everything, get a hold of helps. You can stop paying the debt. We can enroll you right then. You don't have to wait till you're behind and being harassed by creditors. You can call us when you're current and you finally realize you can't pay the debt. But let me go on. My question is, if I let go of the 2 retail charge accounts and keep 2 of the credit cards and, of course, my car payment, can the creditors take my bank account? Can they take my car? You're getting Social Security. I don't know how much you're getting. Twice the amount of your Social Security is protected automatically. You get adoption assistance in California. That's protected from garnishment. It may not be protected automatically, but as long as you keep the balance in your account less than twice the amount of you get each month in Social Security, any other money's in there is going to be protected. And someone have to sue you, get a judgment, and try to garnish it. Your bank will protect it automatically without you doing anything. Now, if you had more than that in there, you can file papers with the court to get it released, so you're not going to have to worry. They're not going to take your car. You got to make the car payment, but I don't care if you've got a big equity in your car. It's not the practice of consumer judgment creditors that get judgments to try to take a person's car, even if they have equity in it over and above the exemption for the state where they live. It says, I says she's not able to get a job because of an illness, homeschools the daughter. She's trying to get money to be able to pay the debt. She just can't do it. So she found us on YouTube. This person can call us. We're going to help them out. They don't need to worry, you know. Person contacts us from helps from Ohio. I am 79 on Social Security and getting a pension. I recently saw a YouTube video regarding helps and would like more information. I'm currently part of a debt repayment program because I believe I should pay my debts. My problem came up when my wife died 4 months ago and I lost her in her retirement income. Well, yeah, we all want to repay our debts. I don't, you know, I'm 74 now. I've been doing this for 46 years. People do not intentionally get into these problems. Life happens to them. And people want to pay their debts, but there just comes a point when you simply can't for whatever reason. That's why they charge interest on the credit cards. The credit card companies know that a certain percentage of people aren't going to be able to debt, and so you pay that interest. That factors in to pay the bank the money that will account for those that aren't able to pay the debt. And so it's natural that he can't pay the debt. His wife passed away. He lost. How can it help get the message to politicians in D.C. about the seniors? And well, as we get bigger, we're going to be able to do that and be able to lobby to try to get more help for seniors. There's a lot of things that could be done to help seniors. Just little laws that could be passed that would make a big difference. So this is a common question. Someone wrote in, they said, if I give up my debts and then I die, will my credit card debt go to my kids, adult kids who are also on Social Security? The answer is a big fat no. I don't care if they're not on Social Security. I don't care what their income is. No, your kids are not going to be responsible for your debt when you die. Anyone who tells you otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about. There were laws that were ancient laws, early United States, that had to do with, a child being responsible for a parent's debt. Okay, and some of those laws may still be in effect, but they're never ever enforced. It won't happen. We don't see it happening. It's not going to happen. You're not going to worry about your kids having to pay your debts. And then Medicare went a long way into seeing that seniors wouldn't have to pay their debts. By being able to pay for most of medical bills. Okay, so no, you don't have to worry about your kids paying your debts. This person contacts us from Michigan. I'm drowning in credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, and I'm on Social Security disability. Please help me. They are harassing me. Well, we can help you. I signed up with a company called Beyond Finance. Oh, we've heard about them before. I found out that they are just taking my money. I'm very sick with, and I'm supposed to show up to court for a bill next month. I don't have that kind of money. Can you help me? Of course we can help you. Did Beyond Finance tell you when you enrolled that your Social Security disability was protected? No one could take you? No, I don't think they told you that. If they would have told you that, you wouldn't have enrolled with them. Instead, some of these companies put seniors into utter poverty, making payments they can't afford to pay when they don't need to pay it. Okay? It's sad. Thanks, Kathy. Okay, this person says, good day from Maryland. I'm a disabled senior. Can a collection agency through garnishment for my credit card debt take my tax refund my bank account? I think this was the person that may have talked to me at the beginning. Okay, that's why this is where I finally came to it. And no, well, twice the amount of your Social Security is protected in your bank account. Okay, it's automatically, regardless of what monies are in there, including money from a tax refund. Now, your creditors can't garnish your IRS tax refund directly from the government. No, they can't do that. But when it hits your bank, can they garnish it? Yeah, possibly. But as long as the balance in the account is less than twice the amount of your Social Security, then your bank will automatically protect that. Now, if you're worried it's more than that, you know, if it gets deposited, a lot of times you get the check in the mail, but if it gets deposited automatically in your bank account, you just pull it out when it gets there. Just keep the balance less than twice the amount you get each month in Social Security. Then you don't need to worry. I'm making a list of the creditors and account numbers to send you. One of my cards I cut up and no longer have, and the bill only lists the last four numbers of the account number. Is that enough? Yeah, there might be some other numbers on the notice that you get, but that's probably enough. If you later got another notice from them, it's going to have more information. You could get it to us. Occasionally we don't get enough information. The creditor or collector has to get enough information from our cease and desist letter that helps sense to be able to make a note on their file not to contact you. So if they continue to contact you, there may be some information that we didn't send them enough at the beginning, and you can get that to us later. Remember, we represent you ongoing. It's not just a one-shot thing. When you enroll in helps, you're our client literally forever, so you don't have to deal with collectors. And if you have any questions or concerns, you get a hold of us. Okay, that's what we're here for. A line is calling my daughter, talked to her once, and now left two more messages on her phone. They have our number and already. Is this legal? If a line is a collection agency, and the answer is no, they can call someone that a relative of something one time to get information. They can't disclose who they are, though, legally. So they might be subject to a lawsuit for doing that. But a lot of them stretch the law because they don't get sued that often. And so, yeah. I'm going overseas to live. If they call me to court, well, I have to go. No. No, if simply so if you're on Social Security, no, your income's protected. They can't do anything. You're not going to need to worry. We represent a lot of clients that are overseas. There's not a problem. No, you're not going to have an issue. They're not going to drag you from wherever you're going to be at. No, you don't need to worry. Person writes in, I am 68, retired with Social Security and a small pension for income. I am $45,000 in credit card debt that is currently being handled by National Debt Relief on a settlement program. Oh. You can see why I get upset because I get these emails, and we talk to these people all day long that are signed up with debt management companies. These companies rake in the bucks. And I'm guessing about a quarter to a third of their clients are seniors to whom they never tell that their income is protected and they don't need their help. Instead, they enroll them in their programs, put them in utter poverty, making payments they don't need to make. Anyway, it says, National Debt Relief on a settlement program. From what I've gathered from your videos, I could cancel the program. Yeah, you can. Abandoning payments and not have to worry about any repercussions. That is absolutely right. Is this correct? Yes, it is. Any reason why I should continue with National Debt Relief? This was I think, a comment on one of our videos. Oh, here's my comment. I'll read it. This is something recently. Did they tell you when you signed up with them that your income was protected and you didn't need to pay the debt if you didn't want to? No. If they didn't tell you that, which I am sure they didn't, it confirms they are scammers when it comes to seniors. They withhold the most important information a senior needs to know for their own financial interest so that they get their money, their fee, they get paid instead of helping us, genuinely helping a senior. That's who the attorney generals for the state should be going after, is these debt management companies taking advantage of seniors. Okay, we got a couple more minutes and we're done. I'm 74 years old and I have debt. This is from Texas. And I have debt with different credit card companies and I rely only on Social Security. I have a part-time job which helps me to pay extra things like internet, gas, food. Yeah, you live in Texas. No one can garnish your wages. And everywhere in the country, 217.50 net per week is protected from garnishment. And some states protect a lot more than that, and some states like Texas don't even allow garnishment in the first place. But in order for someone to garnish, they have to sue and get a judgment, and then they have to know where you work. And if you work like the gig economy or something like that, or self-employed, then it's virtually impossible for them to garnish. But anyway, let me go on what he says. I just paid everything on time because I had a nice job, but they left me off because of my age, and now I have not been able to find something like that anymore. So of course I cannot afford to pay. So anyway, apparently he got let go from his job and he can't work it. Well, you don't need to worry. You don't need to pay anymore. That's right. So I'll do one more. This is a pretty simple one. Person contacts us from Alabama. I received a small claim summons for credit 1. I found you on YouTube and received Social Security disability. Please help. Well, yeah, we're going to help. We're going to say you're getting Social Security disability. It's protected. Can't be taken from you. You don't need to worry about the small claims lawsuit. Uh, you don't need to go to small claims court, even though you think you can if you want to defend yourself and you don't think you owe the money. But if you owe the money, you don't need to do anything. If they get a judgment, they can't collect from you twice the amount of your Social Security you get each month is protected in your bank account by your bank without you having to lift a little finger. So you're going to be okay. Um, mhm. So I guess that's where we'll call it for today. I'll be here tomorrow, same time. In the meantime, if you're new or you have more questions, you can always call us 855-435-7787. You can look at more of our YouTube videos. We have other videos on specific topics on our YouTube page, and we do a lot of YouTube videos with senior living. They have a whole section with seniorliving.org. They have a YouTube page. They have a whole section on videos with helps. I think there's several dozen or more on there. Okay, they're good ones. I do them with Jeff Hoyt. So thanks for participating today. Please call us if you have any questions. I don't want you to worry. If you're a client of Helps and you have concerns, call us. Remember, we're here to help. We always ask that we share what Helps does with others. Press the like button. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do that. The more people that subscribe, the more people that like, the more people that listen, then this logarithms or whatever they call it for the internet spreads these YouTube videos out more so that more seniors that type questions about these issues are going to find out about this information. So have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. God bless.